What's up, everybody? Hey, this is Jordan, and I am haven't done a live coding in a long time, and I thought, um, shoot, why not do it? I've been wanting to get back at it here for a little bit, and Ashley was out having my wife Ashley is was out having dinner with a friend, so I thought, why not a little Friday night action? So one thing I've been wanting to do, so what the stream is going to be about is something I've been wanting to do for quite a while now, which is basically adding internationalization to uh, the Dream On website. And for those who do not know, I help run a nonprofit called Dream On. We do missions, sort of work all over Central South America. Let me go ahead and show you our website here. So here you can see it. Basically, this is the current website we have. I actually live coded some of this, converting this to Gatsby to begin with. But as you can see, there's a pretty standard-ish website, and slider, some menu items, that kind of thing. You can join the trip, help donate to some of the causes we have, some calls to actions, and then here's like a link to our team, that kind of stuff. So basic website that we've been doing, but we do work in throughout Central and South America. So we do work here in Honduras, which is a Spanish-speaking country, and Brazil, which is a Portuguese-speaking country, both of which I know very little about from a language standpoint. But because we get traffic to the site from multiple countries, I thought it would be a great asset to add internationalization to the website. And for those who don't know, like, internationalization is basically it's the way to support multiple languages on the same website. So that's essentially what I want to do. So currently, everything is just it's basically hard-coded strings and so forth that support English as the primary and only language. But I want to go ahead and work on adding additional languages. So for now, what we will actually do is I'll walk you through. I did some basic setup to get this working, which was a little bit trickier than I thought, but let me walk you through first. So the site that it built is using Gatsby.js. For those who aren't familiar with it, Gatsby is basically like a static JavaScript site. What would you call it? Like a framework, and so it builds static JavaScript sites. You can go to that Gatsby.js website for more information, but essentially what happens is, so for some context, I am using branch add internationalization, which I started working on. I have a few commits on, but basically what I have done so far, and let me actually just go up and open, well, I don't have a PR open. Let me push what I have so you guys can see. I don't want to be too presumptuous and not, you guys see this? Let me scoot this over. Okay. So you kind of have somewhat of an idea of what I've already done, so you don't get lost. But here we go. So I'm gonna go ahead and just create. Well, I won't create the pull request, but I'll preview it so you have an idea of what work I did. So the Gatsby site has a Gatsby config file, which basically I use npm to install this Gatsby plugin layout, which basically currently the site I wasn't using like a default layout component, which was something that I've been wanting to fix. But basically, because I needed the localization provider to wrap all of the routes in my all the pages in my site, I needed to basically fix this problem I've known has been here. And by doing that, I used this Gatsby plugin layout component and basically pointed it to this new app.js component that I created to support this. I also had to install this, I was already using this file system plugin, but I created a new config here in this plugins array in the Gatsby config.js that basically points to this i18n folder, which is a folder I created that will host all the internationalization, like configurations, translations, that sort of thing. And I'll show you more in depth of what that means here soon. But basically, i18n is sort of I don't know what the technical term is, but it's basically the sort of nickname, or it's another name for internationalization or localization. So that's this file. This Gatsby.node.js is basically like these scripts that run when you serve or basically build or run your app. And so here, like on the create page, this method so on every page it will go in and it will basically like go in here and check for the language and if it's default, and it will actually create separate paths for this. So this actually right here, if I go in and show you, if we go to like about and see, you can see here, this is, or let's go to like missions, like here, you'll see this index. So by default, it's showing English, but if I were to do ES, which is the shortcut for Spanish, I'm not running the application, so it's not gonna work. So let me do Gatsby develop. This is the script, like for the Gatsby. There's a CLI you can install that I recommend when you're using, when you're running a Gatsby site. And basically the Gatsby develop is sort of like the script you run when you're trying to develop it. And you can see here, this is how you can view it in the browser. And then also by default, Gatsby works with GraphQL, which is really cool. So if you need to check any of the GraphQL queries, you just click there. But if we go back here, we'll see this. We see by default, this is English. If we add, we do an ES at the end. In theory, this is a Spanish page, and PT is the shortcut for Portuguese. I did go ahead and, so basically what I was saying was that this script here basically goes through all the pages that I have, and it creates a duplicate page route kind of for that. So it's kind of what this script does here. Let's see. Here is in this i18n root folder I mentioned, I created a locales.js file that's just a JavaScript module that I created, and here you'll see the three languages. One, EN, which is short for English, and this is going to be, has this default true flag. Make sure obviously only one of these can be true, but this set to true, and then the path is EN, and the name is like English, and then same thing here, ES, the path is ES, and PT for Portuguese is short for Portuguese. So this is where the languages we add are at support, and in the future, if we go to a different language, another country, France, or I don't know, where any other country other than English, Spanish, or Portuguese, this is a really easy way to support that. We just add another language and translations, and then inside of this i18n folder, let me actually show you this. So here, this i18n folder, here's this locales file we created, and here's another folder called translations, and inside of this there's a JSON file I created for each one. So like English, you'll see, and here I will actually, this is where all the actual translation, the translated text will lie. So it's going to be just like a JSON object, that will host all the translations. So this is going to be like the about page, and inside of this will be all the stringed copied translations inside the about page, and then we'll keep building this out for all the other pages of the site. We won't get to all of this tonight, but that's a general feel for this. And then you'll see here, this if I open this up and let me open this side to side, probably can't see this here, but you'll see here, like about, you can see it, basically everything matches except for the copy here for English is about Dream On in English, and this is Spanish. And if I open up one more to the side, you'll see this next one is in Portuguese. So .es, Spanish, .pt, Portuguese. So this is sort of what and why. So here's the translation files I created. Here's just the package.lock. You can see here this I had to add this JavaScript transformer JSON plugin to get the config to basically build out these translations. And here I had to also create this app component here. That was, I mentioned that before, I wasn't doing this, but by adding this line here, I basically tell the app that I want the layout, this to be a layout component. So this to basically be the root component that everything else lies inside. And so here you can see the reason why is because I needed this locale provider hook to wrap everything in the app, and so all the pages in our site are going to get basically rendered here inside of this layout as a prop, this children. And so we wrap the layout, which is like the menu and the things that don't kind of change between all the different pages, and then we wrap that with this locale provider, and then this becomes everything in every page in the site essentially has access to these locales, which is pretty cool. And here's just some props. These prop types you can just add basically to add some typing and some just to make sure like things are going good and that kind of thing. So what's up, Daniel? Just checking in. Say who said hi. Daniel Godoy. Why haven't you been coding with me, Daniel Godoy? Anyways, so here's this. Here's the other. Here I had to make a change to this layout component because now I'm gonna go to this layout component. Make this one screen so it's a little easier to see. I added this. We're going to be passing now from this main app component. We are going to be passing locale and the isDefault flag to this layout component as a prop from the context, the page context of this app component. So every single page will basically load this component, which will then wrap it with this provider, and then basically put the page inside of this layout component, which then gets past locale and this. So if I go here, you'll see that we're using, here's a hook that I created called use locale, which basically is going to be used to change localization. So like we'll create a button that's like, hey, if you need to, say you're in, I don't know, in America or an English-speaking country, and it defaults to English, but maybe you're better at Spanish, you could then change it to Spanish, that kind of thing. So here's an effect I created to change the language, and then that's basically the work that was done here. And then here I just created like a index barrel to make, because we're going to end up creating more and more hooks for each one of these pages. I created a hook, you'll see here, called use about translation hook, and let me go here And then I'm almost done, then we'll get started. But I wanted to give some context to you guys. So let's see, components are, this is going to be a hook. So here is, I'm going to create one of these hooks for all the pages of the site that we're going to be doing. And the reason why is this is a static query, and unfortunately you can't use like, you can't pass in like variables or anything like that. So this has to be like a statically written query, unfortunately. So we'll create a hook for all the pages we want, and then here we will actually, this is basically a GraphQL query that we're building, and I'll fire this up so you can kind of see what that looks like. But here we're just going to be destructuring all of those properties, and you'll see here, you'll see it had about, and inside of the about there's a page title, same thing. Oops, where'd that go? Where'd that hook go? Here, you'll see about, page title. So that's where that kind of came from. Let me, for the sake of this, let me pull open. So if I open up, look, let's see, 1000 and do underscore GraphQL, you'll see here I build up a query. This has like all the GraphQL, the scope of everything that I could query in the site. So here you'll see, if I run this query, you'll see down at the bottom there is, here's, you can see the English, the Portuguese, and the Spanish translations. And Daniel, I might need your help. My Spanish is not good. It is muy mal, not good. So I'm relying on Google Translate to hopefully do a good job here. So might have to go in and tweak these later, but this will get us a good start. So it's kind of cool. You can go in and preview these queries and kind of see. And as we build these out, you'll get a better feel, and it'll be easier to sort of see and gauge. So there's this, and let's see. That is this hook. This is the barrel that exports them. Here's this locale little hook I created to basically create this provider and allow us to change the locale, and then basically here is me then the next like 20 files are basically me removing this layout component, because I was manually adding this, but because we created we told the app to load the app component for every page, and then the app component has that locale provider, and then inside of that this layout component, I no longer need to manually basically add this layout component everywhere. So you'll see here, just all these places you'll see layout getting removed. So that's basically the gist of where we're at. So let me actually show you one example of what I got. So hopefully this helps answers questions, and let me know if you guys have questions along the way. But okay, so this about page, by default it's still using English, but any of these routes that we do, if we preface it with the language, so like Spanish, it will load the Spanish version of this site. And you can see here, this language, this here is this is the about page title here for Spanish. So, and if I change it to PT, it's going to change this to Sabre Drummond again here. So here you can see that's what's happening there. So let me actually pull this up in code. Let me pull open this. Here's the about page. And what I did was inside of this component, I actually used I referenced this use about translation hook I created, and then I'm destructuring page title from the about object that gets passed in, and then all I have to do, which is really cool, is in this call page title here, which is really cool. So it may be a little confusing, but let me start off and show you this. Get rid of this. It's annoying me. Okay. So first thing we need to do is we need to start adding new things here. So let's go back to the English, and we'll see here. So we have this. We won't worry about the navigation for now, but let's go ahead and work on like our mission, and let's call this the mission and description. So if we go to the so we're gonna have to update all three of these, but for now, let's do mission. It's gonna be our mission and description, and let's copy this, and then let's do history. Let's do, oops, I need to add a comma here. And let's, because there's going to be multiple descriptions, let's do mission, description, history, our history, and then call this history description. And then let's do, so here's going to be a good question is, I'm not sure the best way, there's different ways we can handle this, I think, like where we want, where it's not just plain string, where we need to like render out a list or something. So let's try, well, let's start here. Let's just do these two things. Okay, so let's go ahead and copy this, save this, and then let's put this here, and this here. So obviously we need to translate these though. So let's go to Google Translate. So here we have Spanish, and the first one we want to translate is our mission. So if we go here, translate this, we can then copy this here, and if I take this whole sentence, copy it, and change it to here, copy this, we have our history. Let's do the same thing for this. Nuestra Historia. My Spanish is bad. And this description. Copy this. Okay, so we save this file, and we need to do the same thing with in Portuguese, which, oops, it looks like I was doing that. I was doing, which I guess is something we gotta be careful of because I don't know the languages, but we'll make sure we're on the actual right file. So here, Spanish and Portuguese, we need to change. Let's copy this. And place it with this, that way I know what to copy here. Cut this, put it, and let's change this to Portuguese. Same thing here. Okay, so now I have Portuguese, Spanish, and English. However, if we load our site, they still look the same because we haven't actually went in and told it to use those new objects. So, however, let's go in here. We know we added history description. What was the other one? And mission. This can be in any order, but just keep them in the same so that way we can see them. And you'll see, if we scroll all the way down, we now have the page title. We have the page title with the mission and description, history, and so forth. So we still have these same three, but we see more than just page title. We see the other things we just added. But we now need to consume this in our page, because right now we are using, where's it at? This hook to get the page title. So in theory, we would just need to, we would just add those properties, but we need to do basically like copy this same object query and change this. So now we should be returning all of these things from this hook. And if we can't find something, mission, doesn't like something. What doesn't it like? I might just need to restart this. Let me Gatsby clean. Gatsby serve. This will basically delete. So the way that this works is Gatsby. What is this? We've encountered an error. Oh. This is the challenge with live coding. See. Seems to be working out. It's weird. Hopefully we'll keep watching it. But the way it works is it basically will create a static page of everything on the site. That way it's very fast to load. So it loads it all and then sends it to the browser. So sometimes we have to rebuild this, and when you run that clean, it actually deletes the cache of all the files that get served to the website, to the browser, and starts over. So it looks like it should be good now. Let's try reloading this, just see. Okay. So again, we're still not using this. Now this hook now exposes more things in this object. So if we go back to this object here, I don't want to send that. Right now we're only pulling out the page title, but we want to pull out mission description, history, and history description. And here, let's see, we see all of this is getting actually pulled from a different component. You'll see here it's referencing this about component. So what we need to do is actually pass this copy into this. So what we can do is we can actually just pass this about object in. And what we could do then is here we call about think this will work, but I think I can just call about. But let me try. Yes, no, it's not defined. Yeah. But if I, where am I? About pages. Okay. If I basically do this, and I could then do about the page title, do this should work still. And yep. And then if we go to this about component, we can then, if we want to, we can destructure out the things we want here. So like mission description, history description. So if I do this, and here, so you can see instead of referencing the text as like a string, actually just reference the destructured translation. And if I save this and run this, you now see Spanish nuestra misión. And you see this and this, which is pretty cool. Just like that, we're getting different translations. If I switch this to PT, I'm getting the Portuguese. And if I get rid of this altogether and just do this, we're back to English. So pretty cool. That's pretty exciting. Pretty cool. So this is what we have. However, we still have the rest of this to do. Any questions so far? Let's see. Nope. Everyone's night's going good. Let's see. Okay, so we need to add the rest of this. Let's switch. Well, we know we did these two and this two, so we need to change these. Add these, add them, I guess I should say. So we want to call this, what is this? Core values. Oops. Make it like this. Let's translate this in Portuguese. And this does have to line up or it won't work. And in Spanish. Same thing. If we go here, and all we need to do is destructure it here and say core values. Well, this is going to be the tricky part. It actually won't work because every single one of these we actually have to go here, oops, and add it to this query as well. again, you could see it not that's let's rebuild this. Anytime it has to like rebuild the GraphQL queries, it sometimes it gets hung up like this. So it would be ideal if I had all these already translated, and then I could just go in and implement this. There's also, it's kind of a laborious task at this point. Like it's kind of, there's nothing super exciting or difficult. It's pretty trivial at this point. And there's not really a better way to do it, unfortunately. So I'm going to see if I can render this as HTML as list items. I've done this in Angular. We do this a lot, but I've never used this with React or Gatsby. So let me check. So the other option would be to basically, instead of rendering just text, see if we could render the actual HTML itself, which would look like something like this. Maybe just this. We'll just copy this, and then this would be like core value items, list items, because that's technically, I guess, what this is called. So the best way then is to make this all one line. And core values list. Let me like this, and like this, and then go here. Excellent. This is Spanish. See what I mean? What's up, Andrew? Then we'll go here. Copy this. Change this to this. Integrity and everything. Okay, so here with Spanish, I need to then come here, do the same thing. See what I mean? This is pretty tedious pretty quickly, but that's what we gotta do. Here I have an ampersand. Yeah. This is Spanish, Portuguese, English. Let's see if this works. So first thing is I need to update my hook. You guys starting to see the repetitiveness of this. Core value list items. See, now it fails because it didn't recognize this query last time it built, so we got to rebuild it. It's one thing that's kind of annoying about static generated stuff, but in development it can be a little tricky, a little boring. What's up, Christian? I'm not a wizard, just a nerd. So here's this. Okay, I rebuilt it. Now we can go back to this about component, destructure what we just created. And let's see if we can just do it like this. Let's see if it works. Core value list items. What's the chances this works? That'd be kind of cool, right? So here we go. Here's a problem I gotta fix. So let's figure out how we can fix this. How we can render this as HTML. So if anyone has any ideas how we can basically encode it so it doesn't, let's see, do this. How do I want to search for this? I am using, let's see. I'm using, okay, I want to do, let me search for Gatsby render HTML string. There you go. But I don't want, I want something like this, where I have, need to sanitize. Ooh. It's a good idea. And I could do this. That's a React thing. Let's try this. Let's do, see if we can wrap this in a div and dangerously set. And is it two? Yeah. This is like an object and then core list items. I doubt this works. So kids are coming to say hi. What are you gonna do?
Thank you, Dad.
You're welcome. Let's see. So did this work? No. In fact, it's yelling at us, actually. Sorry, this is boring watching me do this, I'm sure. But the other option is to not do this, but it would be nice to be able to solve this problem if we had to. Entering. Can custom JavaScript to your document. I'm doing. What isn't it? What HTML is it actually rendering? Oh, it needs to be like this. There we go. Huh. I was gonna say that should work. So here we go. See, just like that, we are. This is an error I've been getting. I need to look into, but this does not relate to this. So here we go. Now we have this in Spanish, Portuguese, and English. Boom, shaka, shaka, local, boom. Sweet, sweet, sweet. So here we go. So I now have almost all of this done. Looks like I still need to do these 3 bucket things. We can start there and maybe wrap this up. I know I need to figure out a way to do links and do some other tricky stuff, but see how ambitious I want to feel. Join, give, and how long you guys want to hang out. So, okay, let's see. How's your guys' week? Good? Not good? Boring? Slow? Good? Okay. I'm gonna need a join, copy, join the team. I'm gonna need a description. As you can see, there's a lot of repetitiveness to a lot of this, but we need to use single brackets for this. Give a June. Let's call this give. Oops. Give description. And become a partner. Oops. Oops, you guys can't see that, sorry. Let me add these to Spanish. Okay. Okay. Actually, before I do this, let me copy this over to Portuguese. Gotta add a comma. So I need to copy this Spanish. Oops. Sorry, this part's boring, guys. Spanish or Portuguese. Thankful we don't go to more countries at the moment because this is taking forever. I worked for a company before that had like 20 some languages, so it was an Angular app, much different than this, but it was, you could imagine, internationalization can get pretty tricky, like, really quickly. Not really tricky, just like, I think organization is really important. I don't love the way this approach is because it's static and you have to do a lot of manual deconstructing, but it's working, and I think it might be sufficient for what we need, but again, it's a little, I don't know, it's okay. It's not ideal, but it works. Okay, so let me go here, let me add, so I just copied this whole thing. I don't want all this, I just want the keys on these objects, not the actual values. Okay, here. So then I added these. Restart this. Go to this component. Let me also add these destructured. I need to set up prettier for this because this is getting annoying. Formatting this so it's pretty. No pun intended, right? Okay. Join, not joint. Join description. Call this give. And yeah, I'm live streaming.
Oh, you're live streaming? What are you live streaming?
I'm coding.
Hey Google, turn the lights on.
What's the last one here? Sorry, my wife's on. Partner. Partner description. So now if I save this, let's see. Restart it. Boom shakalaka. Spanish and Portuguese. Not sure why the image isn't working, but you guys get the point. So cool. So it's a good. I think that's a good place to stop for the night. But thanks for hanging out, and I'll probably do this again soon.